So good morning, welcome along out with RB for Eclipse Motorcycles, test riding this red and black Titan for one of our customers. And this is the Euro 5 version, 125cc, and we've done quite a few of these now, but obviously just to show the bike to the customer. Every customer gets a ride test on their bike. So going to be taking this one out and giving it a run. Now it currently has 3k on the clock. As always, we normally get between 15 and 20k on a bike. Before we set off, let's just have a look at these mirrors. Now these mirrors, as I've said before, are nice and wide. You do get a good view of the road behind. I've literally got that much of my shoulder, so hardly any shoulder. And as someone commented on the one of my other videos, he said the mirrors aren't super wide. Some people have put bar extenders on their mirrors. Yes, that may be the point. It depends on the size of the rider. If you're a tiny little skinny rider, you're going to get a perfect view. If you're a slightly bigger rider and you've got huge, great bulky shoulders, yes, you are going to get some of your shoulder in the mirror. So it's all dependent on the size of the rider. But I'm 5'10", about 13 stone, and I've got a 40-inch shoulder, and I don't have an issue. I tend to have my arms in. If you're going to have your arms right up, tucked right up as if you're in a race position, then yes. But if you ride normally with your arms down, as you should do, and you move your head, perfect view of the road behind. And as I always say with mirrors, never ever trust your mirrors. I tend to ignore mirrors on a bike unless I'm doing a quick look down just to check the traffic behind. But 9 times out of 10, the shoulder check is the one that you want to be doing. And obviously looking through your shoulder and just checking your junctions before you take a corner. Doing those shoulder checks is an imperative thing to do. So out on the road, and that obligatory 40 mile an hour, as we always do on all the test rides, 40 to 45, just making sure that the bike runs effectively and sitting in lane position 1. Now people have obviously asked me about, I was talking a couple of videos ago about limit points, and customer actually asked on the feed, what is a limit point? Is that how fast the bike goes? Is that the limit of the bike? No, it has nothing to do with the bike. It is to do with the rider. So the limit point is the farthest part of the road that you can see. So basically, if I am looking up there, my limit point is going to be that top corner of the road. That is the very furthest point that you can see the road. Now obviously I can see that the trees are going round to the right, so I know that there is a right hand bend coming up. So that is what's known as the limit point. If the limit point gets narrower and narrower and narrower, you know that either the road's tightening or there is a bend coming up. If that limit point gets wider and wider and wider, you know you are on a straight road. So the limit point is set 1 for the left, 2 for the right. So that is your limit point, and it's always done in 7s. Now I actually learnt this off one of our Rosper riders. So limit points 1 and 2, left and right. You'd then look 3 and 4, which is, I'd say, roughly around about 100 yards in front of you. So left and right, 3 and 4, and your 7 would be, 5 would be your left hand mirror, 6 would be your clocks and your speed, 7 is your outside mirror or your offside mirror. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Takes you literally 7 seconds to do those, and you should be repeating them quite a bit. Normally every 30 seconds to a minute, or just scanning the road ahead. What we normally say is just scan the road ahead, keep an eye on your junctions, keep an eye on your mirrors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is what a limit point is. And obviously the faster you ride, the more you're going to be checking your limit point, watching out for those hazards that are right up ahead, and obviously scanning the road in front of you, potholes, imperfections in the road. So that's what your 3 and 4 are, watching out for any undue potholes. The last thing you want to be doing is putting your front wheel into a dirty great pothole and washing out the front wheel. Now obviously in lane position 1, yes, I can see there are imperfections in the road. There are bumps and lumps coming up, but you would adjust your course for obviously checking your mirrors before you decide to go round a pothole. So that is one of the things to do. Now obviously another comment we had, what rider gear do you wear? I tend to have 2 sets of rider gear. So currently when I'm road testing bikes for Eclipse, nice big heavy pair of steel toe capped boots is what I tend to ride in. If I'm out on the big bike, then what I will do is switch up to my full calf motorcycle boots, and they're basically like big motocross boots. So I've got a big set of nice green Kawasaki boots that I tend to ride in if I'm on a bigger bike. But if it's a 125, minimum protection you should have is a decent pair of high ankle boots, set of Doc Martens, or even a set of steel toe cap boots. They work ideal. As for trousers, minimum requirement should be at least a pair of Kevlar jeans. Now I ride in Kevies all the time. Yes, they are hot and sweaty if it is a nice summer's day, but it's better to have the protection than no protection at all. And the last thing you want to be doing is going out on a 125 in a set of tracksuit bottoms, pair of shorts, we've seen it done, or just a pair of thin office trousers. You want some protection. If you hit the road, you want some abrasion protection, and I have seen some really bad cases of road rash where people have skinned themselves, and unfortunately road rash is with you for life, and the last thing you want is scars everywhere, and I've got plenty of those. As for jackets, decent textile jacket, or even a good lightweight leather jacket is what you want. Not a t-shirt, not a jumper, not just your normal jacket that you would use if you was going out with your mates, like your barber or whatever. Get yourself a decent textile jacket with some good CE armour, elbows, shoulders, spine. As for gloves, I tend to ride in 2 pairs of gloves, like I normally do. Most people have seen me wearing my green Kawasaki ones. I've actually got my race gloves on. I do have a pair of winter gloves, but obviously when I'm riding my big bike, I've got heated grips, so my little green Kawasaki race gloves do the job. Now these obviously have the Kevlar pads to the back of the knuckles. These have titanium mesh in them. So these have got a mesh all the way through all the fingers, and they've got a double layer of leather on the heel and palm. Makes it a little bit harder to obviously grip a throttle, but once they're worn in, they are absolutely beautiful. So that's what I tend to wear. And then helmet wise, what I'd normally say is get yourself a decent full face, open face helmets. I do not like. First thing that's going to hit the road is your chin, and you've got no protection. So a decent full face helmet, or like I've got a hybrid, which is a flip front helmet where the front can become an open face. And I'd always say get one that has a sun shield built into the helmet, so it's got a sun visor built in. Flick of the finger down the side of the helmet and the sun visor will come down, just take away the road glare. Now obviously my helmet has an iridium screen, which is bright silver, great for the day for reflecting sunlight, but at night time it is a no-go. It is a visor up job. So what I tend to do is, obviously if I am riding at night, very quick, just 2 buttons, clip the screen off, put me clear one on, and then put my iridium in my pack. But I tend to have my iridium down all the time, but a decent helmet with a decent visor. And you should be spending anything between, I'd say, about 60 to 100 pounds for an average size helmet. Do not go for one of these cheap 35 quid eBay helmets that you'll see at your local bike store that does bicycles. I'm not going to name who they are, but someone said, oh, I bought a crash helmet from a certain bike store. Alright, motorcycle store? No, bicycle store. Everybody knows what that store is. Yeah, they were 35 quid. Got them on special offer. Make sure it's got the logo on the back. And in the old days it used to be ACU approved, or CE, or you'd have your British kite mark on it. A lot of them now have a thing called the sharp rating, so if you're thinking of a helmet, Google it, put that helmet in and put sharp rating. You will find a sharp rating for the helmet. The better the sharp rating, the better your head is protected. And really, would you spend 35 quid on a helmet if someone said to you, I'm going to smack you over the head with a 4-pound mallet or a lump hammer, because that's the impact you're going to get when you go down. Put your 35 quid helmet on and I'll smack you over the head with a lump hammer. Now, I know what I would rather have on. I would rather have a nice expensive showy Arai, but a lot of people can't afford those. Mine's an LS2. But you want to be spending a decent bit of money on a helmet. You've got one head, one brain, protect it to the best of your abilities, and that is a must. Helmet before everything else. If you can't afford decent clothing, go for a decent helmet. Although skin will heal, if you go down and smack your head, brain injury, you're not going to get over it. So spend decent money on a crash helmet. So that is all the sort of things that you need to buy if you're going out. And then obviously your maintenance on your bike. As I always bang on about it, ACF 50. Get yourself a decent can of ACF 50, which is a corrosion protection. There are loads of different brands out, but I tend to stick with ACF 50. And if you happen to have a look at some of the comments on my previous videos, a lot of people have said, what is ACF 50? Or, I use it all the time. Great suggestion, RB. ACF 50, I tend to do mine at least once a week, even if it doesn't move. Just get a bit of corrosion protection on the bike and it will protect all your metal components from picking up the rust. It's not going to absolutely stop it, but the best thing, obviously, if you've got a little bit of rust coming, copper brush, bit of WD-40, get rid of it, wipe it off, clean it off, ACF 50 over the top, nod nod. So that's what I would recommend. Obviously checking your oil tyre pressures every time you ride, not just once a week. Some people do it once a week, but any bike that I ride, I tend to check the oil, tyres, lights, everything. Do a walk round of the bike before you get out. And then the final question that we had on one of my feeds, and it was a very, very interesting feed. Why do big bike riders not nod to 50cc and 125 riders? It's just a thing. Some do, some don't. I tend to nod to everybody. At the end of the day, when we were all young guys, we all started on a 50cc. Everybody started on a 50cc or a 125. So we've all been there, we've all done it. And then obviously we've all got our licenses and progressed to bigger bikes. So some of the big bike riders will give you a nod. Some of the other bike riders tend to be a little bit snobby. It's like, oh, it's 50cc, a pedal, no, not nodding to him. We've all started somewhere, so I tend to nod or wave to absolutely everybody, like I normally do, because we've all had to start on a bike sometime. So that was that question for that customer. He said, oh, you know, it's nice to see you nodding to everybody. I do. You know, we're all bikers. We're all biker brotherhood. Some people obviously don't have a bike for their entire life. They'll move up to a car and it's like, no, it was just to get me to college, mate, or just to get me, you know, get me to work and back. But some people enjoy what they do. Some decide to obviously have a bike for a couple of years just till they move on to their car license, and then obviously progress on. But if you are a biker for life, you do tend to get the nod, which is a good thing, which is why I tend to nod to absolutely everybody. And obviously there are some people say, oh, you know, what if a biker's at the side of the road, why do you pull up? We do. It's just biker friendly. You know, if you're a car driver, you're broke down at the side of the road and you're stood with your car, how many car drivers are going to stop for you? You're right, mate, do you need any assistance? You get sort of the odd one in about 30 people that will pull through and like, you're right, mate, have you phoned the AARAC? But with bikers, if a biker tends to be at the side of the road, most bikers will double back. You're right, mate, yeah, I'm just waiting for me mate to catch up with me, or no, I've broken down, mate. Well, I've done it quite a few times where I've pulled up to a biker. You're right, mate. Oh, you won't believe it, mate, I've run out of fuel, or I've broken down, I've got a flat battery. Do you need any help? No, mate, it's alright, I've got the AAR. I said, well, do you need any fuel? Alright. And it's either shoot off down the petrol station. If you've got a canister, I tend to carry one in the bike, I tend to carry a spare canister. Give me 10 minutes, mate, I'll go and get you some fuel. And it's just a thing that bikers do to help each other out. It's part of the biking brotherhood and sisterhood. And obviously if you happen to be a female on a bike that's stranded at the side of the road, you see how many bikers stop for you. Great thing. So that is just what we do when we're bikers. It just tends to be one of those things. So we've got 15k on the bike. She's running absolutely lovely, sitting at 45. Flew up the hill and she's flying back down. And as I always say with these Titans, the engines, if you service them, maintain them, look after them, keep them clean, they are bomb-proof. And just to prove the point, we had a 15 plate, really old Titan come in. And he's ramped up about 15,000k on it. I went, how's the bike running? Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely love it, mate. It's a bit rusty around the exhaust. Yes, the Titans, all scooters, all rust around the exhaust. I've got a new can going on next week, mate. I've got a Lextech going on it. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, Lextech do shed loads of aftermarket parts for your bikes. A little 125 flying past me, bless him. He's doing well. Nice shoulder check there as well. Brilliant. So we all tend to all be out on bikes and all riding, even in the winter months. And it's just a thing, you're either a fair weather rider, you don't go out in the rain, or you do, and you're an all-round rider. So I tend to ride all year round, apart from when it's absolutely hammering it down in snow. And I have been out on a few 125s in the snow, in the cold, in the wet, in the ice, and everyone said to me, and the final comment obviously before we go out to the garage, tyres. People keep banging on, oh, I wouldn't trust a scooter or a bike with nylon tyres. I've never ever had a problem with nylon tyres. Always left me space cushion from the vehicle in front, and I've always adjusted my speed to the road conditions. So if you've seen some of my really wet weather days, you'll see me going into corners at like 10-15 mile an hour, bolt upright on the bike, taking my time. You adjust your riding conditions to what the weather is. So you're always keeping your eye on the road, scanning around. But that is some of the things that, and obviously some of the questions just to catch up on this week. Got a few videos going up this week as well, so loads and loads of questions and stuff that we're going to be answering. Maybe doing a live stream this Friday, try and get some of the guys in. Obviously last week we had Burning Gas Hauling Gas join us, talking about fuel. If you do want to join in on the live stream, that is on a Friday night, 9 o'clock, and I shall try and get a live stream in this Friday, as long as I get back home in time. We had a bit of a late one last night, 7 o'clock finish, so 12-hour day for me yesterday. But Titan's riding absolutely perfect. If you do want a Titan, we've got plenty in stock in red or grey or blue, and that's eclipsemotorcyclesmk.co.uk. Telephone number is down there as well, 01908 643 603. As always, if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the chat about stuff, and I'm sure Master Venger will while he's enjoying his cup of coffee and breakfast, like he always does with his comments. He's a great guy, Master Venger. I do love some of his comments that he does, and it's a pleasure to see him posting all the time just on what he does. He's very, very knowledgeable and knows his bikes inside and out. So give it a thumbs up, comments down the bottom as always, guys. And obviously for the next video in line, hit that notifications bell. Go and check out some of the other riders, Jim Diesel, Burning Gas Hauling Gas. Go and check out Big Smitty. He's ramping the views and the subscribers up at the moment. So Big Smitty riding. And of course Bikes, Beards, Brews. There are loads in there. Salty and Sprinkles. Hell's on Two Wheels, loads of American people I follow, and obviously our English guys, Premises 187, Spicy 110, he's been out on the electric, so go and check out Spicy's reviews of that electric bike that he's been riding. But until the next time, guys, when we're out riding with RB and the guys from Eclipse Motorcycles, be well, ride safe, and it is a big goodbye from me.